The monitors in the research lab showed something that made Dr. Hess's 3 hearts beat faster. His long, insect-like fingers trembled as he adjusted the sensors for the 5th time in 10 minutes. The readings had to be wrong. They simply had to be. "Doctor, the thermal signature is moving closer," said his assistant Prill. Her antenna twitched nervously. "It will reach the human settlement in less than an hour." Dr. Hess stared at the screen. The creature moving across the rocky plains of Tarvis 7 was massive, 40 feet from head to tail, with wings that could span half a building. The Rildan scientists had been studying this planet for 2 years now, cataloging every species, every danger. This creature, what the planetary database called a Skrell, was marked in bright red. Apex predator, extremely territorial, fire-breathing capability. Approach at your own risk, which really meant do not approach at all. The problem was simple and terrible. 3 months ago, humans had arrived on Tarvis 7. They had set up a small colony on the eastern continent, maybe 200 people total. The Rildan research team had noted their presence but kept their distance. Humans were new to the Galactic Council, and most species did not know what to make of them yet. They seemed friendly enough but also strangely casual about danger. Now a Skrell was heading straight for their settlement, and Dr. Hess had a responsibility to warn them. He opened the communication channel. It took a moment for the signal to connect. When the screen flickered to life, a human woman appeared. She had dark hair pulled back from her face and wore simple work clothes. Her expression was calm, almost relaxed. "Hello there," she said with a slight smile. "This is Bate Carter. How can I help you?" Dr. Hess struggled to keep his voice steady. "Ms. Carter, this is Dr. Hess from the Rildan Research Station. We have an emergency situation. There is a Class 5 predator approaching your location. You need to evacuate immediately. We can have ships there within the hour." Bate tilted her head slightly. "A predator? Do you mean one of the big dragons?" "Yes, exactly. A Skrell, extremely dangerous. Our readings show it will reach your settlement very soon." "Oh, that's probably Scarlet," Bate said. She glanced at something off-screen. "Yeah, my daughter said she'd be coming by today." Dr. Hess felt his mind go blank for a moment. "I'm sorry, what?" "Scarlet, she's one of the Skrells that visits us. Don't worry, we're aware of her." Behind Dr. Hess, Prill made a high-pitched sound of distress. 2 other scientists rushed to the monitors. They all stared at Bates' calm face on the screen. "Ms. Carter, I don't think you understand," Dr. Hess said carefully. "This creature is an apex predator. It can breathe fire. Its bite force can crush stone. You cannot simply be aware of it. You need to run." Bates' smile grew a little wider. "That's very kind of you to worry, Dr. Hess, but really we're fine. Scarlet won't hurt anyone here." "How can you possibly know that?" "Because we've been friends with her for about 2 months now. She likes the valley near our settlement. Good hunting grounds. My daughter Lily brings her food sometimes." Dr. Hess felt like his translator must be malfunctioning. "Your daughter feeds the predator." "Well, yes, Lily's very good with animals. Always has been, even back on Earth." One of the other scientists pulled up the visual feed. They could see the Skrell now, not just as a heat signature but as an actual image. The creature was massive, covered in dark red scales that looked like armor plating. Its wings were folded against its back as it walked. Smoke drifted from its nostrils. Every instinct in Dr. Hess's body screamed danger. "Ms. Carter, please listen to me," he said desperately. "I am looking at this creature right now. It is 400 meters from your homes. It is a killing machine. Whatever you think you know about it, you are wrong. Please evacuate your people." "Dr. Hess, I appreciate your concern, I really do, but we're not evacuating. Just watch, okay? You'll see." The channel stayed open. Bate did not seem worried at all. Dr. Hess wanted to close his eyes but could not look away from the monitors. The Skrell entered the human settlement. People were visible now, moving around between buildings. Some were working on construction projects. Others were tending to gardens. A few children played in an open area, and not one of them ran. By the 7 stars, Prill whispered, they're all going to die. But they did not run. Instead, several humans actually walked toward the dragon. Dr. Hess watched in frozen horror as a small figure broke away from a group of adults. A child. The thermal sensors showed a young human, probably no more than 6 or 7 years old. The child walked directly toward the Skrell. No, Dr. Hess said out loud. No, no, no. The dragon lowered its enormous head. Its jaws could swallow the child whole. Dr. Hess's fingers moved to activate an emergency signal, to call for help, to do something, anything. But then the child reached up with both small hands and kissed the dragon on its snout. The Skrell's eyes closed. It made a sound, deep and rumbling, that the sensors picked up as a low-frequency purr. The child laughed, a bright, happy sound that the audio feed transmitted clearly. Dr. Hess stared at the screen. His 3 hearts had stopped racing. Now they barely seemed to beat at all. In the lab, no one spoke. No one moved. On the monitor, the child scratched under the dragon's chin. The massive creature's tail swayed back and forth like a pleased pet. Other humans approached now, unafraid, reaching out to touch the Skrell's scales. Bate Carter's voice came through the speaker. See, I told you we were fine. Dr. Hess could not form words. His entire understanding of predator behavior, of survival instincts, of basic logic had just shattered. He watched the small human child climb onto the dragon's back. The creature moved slowly, carefully, making sure the child was secure. Finally, Dr. Hess managed to speak. How, he asked quietly, how is this possible? Bates' answer was simple, because we asked nicely. The Skrell spread its wings and lifted a few feet off the ground with the child on its back. The little girl's laughter echoed across the communication channel. Dr. Hess sat down heavily in his chair. Around him, his fellow scientists stared at the monitors in absolute silence. Everything they knew about the universe had just changed. 3 days passed before Dr. Hess could bring himself to leave the research station. He had watched the recordings at least 20 times. Each viewing made less sense than the last. The child and the dragon, the impossible friendship, the complete absence of fear. His colleagues argued about it constantly. Some thought the humans had used technology to control the creature's mind. Others believed the Skrell must be sick or damaged somehow. A few suggested the humans had genetically modified the dragon, though that seemed unlikely given how recently they had arrived on Tarvis 7. Dr. Hess had a different theory. He thought the humans were simply insane. But he needed to know for certain. So he gathered 2 of his bravest colleagues, loaded their shuttle with every safety device and weapon they owned, and flew to the human settlement. The landing area was a cleared patch of ground near the main cluster of buildings. As their shuttle descended, Dr. Hess saw several Skrells lounging in the sun near the human homes. His grip on the armrest tightened. One dragon was terrifying enough, but there were at least 5 of them visible from the air. This is a bad idea, Prill muttered from the co-pilot's seat. This is a very bad idea. The shuttle touched down. Through the window, Dr. Hess watched a group of humans approach. Bate Carter was among them, along with several others. And yes, there was the child, Lily. She skipped alongside the adults, completely carefree. Behind the humans, one of the Skrells raised its head and watched the shuttle with golden eyes. Dr. Hess forced himself to breathe normally. He had survived worse situations. Probably. He opened the shuttle door and stepped out, followed by his nervous colleagues. Dr. Hess, welcome, Bate called out warmly. It's good to meet you in person. She extended her hand in the human greeting gesture. Dr. Hess awkwardly touched her palm with his long fingers. The humans smiled at this. Thank you for having us, Dr. Hess said. His translator made his voice sound steadier than he felt. I hope we are not intruding. Not at all, we're happy to have visitors. Would you like a tour? A tour of a settlement filled with apex predators. Yes, Dr. Hess heard himself say, that would be educational. As they walked, Dr. Hess noticed details he had missed on the monitor. The human buildings were simple but well built. Gardens grew between the structures. Solar panels provided power. Everything looked peaceful and normal except for the dragons. One Skrell was helping a human move large stones for a new building foundation. The dragon would grip a boulder in its jaws and place it exactly where the human pointed. Another Skrell lay in the sun while 3 human children played around its tail. The creature did not seem bothered at all. 6 months ago, this place was empty, Bait explained as they walked. We were the first humans to settle here. Within a week, we noticed the Skrells. They're territorial, so we knew we had to be careful. Yet you stayed, Dr. Hess said. Where else would we go? This planet is beautiful. We just had to figure out how to live alongside the locals. They passed another dragon, this one smaller than the others. It watched them with intelligent eyes. Lily broke away from the group and ran to it. Dr. Hess tensed, ready to activate his shield device. But the child simply hugged the dragon's leg, and the creature made that same purring sound Dr. Hess had heard on the recording. That's how it started, actually, Bates said, noticing his reaction. One of our people, a man named David, decided to try making contact. He approached slowly, brought food as an offering. It took weeks of daily visits before the first Skrell accepted him. That seems extremely dangerous, Prill said quietly. It was. David knew the risks, but he believed it was possible to communicate peacefully, and eventually he was right. They reached a larger building at the center of the settlement. Inside, it looked like a combination of a medical clinic and a workshop. Various tools and supplies lined the walls. The real breakthrough happened when David brought his daughter with him, Bate continued. Lily was only 5 years old at the time. She didn't have the same fear adults do. She saw the dragon and thought it was beautiful. She wanted to pet it. Dr. Hess looked at the small girl who was now back with the group. She was petting a dragon outside through an open window, and it did not attack her. No, the Skrell seemed to understand she wasn't a threat. It lowered its head and let her touch it. After that, progress was quick. We learned they're highly intelligent. They understand tone and body language. They form bonds with beings they trust. An older human man joined them. He had gray hair and weathered skin. I'm Robert, he said. I work with the Skrells on the heavy construction projects. They're stronger than any machine we brought with us. Do you not fear them? Dr. Hess asked. Robert smiled. I respect them. That's different from fear. Back on Earth, humans partnered with all kinds of animals. Wolves became dogs. Wild horses learned to carry us. Birds of prey helped us hunt. It's what humans do. We find ways to work together. But those animals were much smaller, Prill pointed out. These creatures could kill you easily. So could a horse if it wanted to, or a large dog. The size doesn't matter as much as the relationship. They walked outside again. Dr. Hess was about to ask another question when he heard a roar in the distance. It was a sound of pain. All the humans immediately looked toward the source. A Skrell appeared over the ridge, flying low and unsteady. It landed heavily near the settlement, and Dr. Hess could see blood on its side. A deep gash ran along its flank, probably from a fight with another predator or a territorial dispute. Human medics grabbed supplies and ran toward the injured dragon. The creature was clearly in pain. It roared again, louder this time, and bared its teeth. Dr. Hess activated his shield device and pulled his colleagues back. But Lily walked forward. Lily, wait, Bate called out, but she did not sound panicked, just cautious. The small girl approached the massive injured dragon. It turned its head toward her, eyes wild with pain. Dr. Hess was certain he was about to witness something terrible. Lily reached out and placed her tiny hand on the dragon's leg. The Skrell stopped roaring. Its breathing slowed. The wildness in its eyes faded, replaced by something calmer. It lowered its head to the child's level, and she gently touched its snout. "It's okay," Lily said softly. "We're going to help you." The medics moved in quickly now, treating the wound while Lily stayed close to the dragon's head, keeping it calm with her presence and soft words. Dr. Hess watched in stunned silence. Around him, his colleagues stood frozen. This was not mind control. This was not genetic modification. This was something he had never seen before in any species. This was trust. Pure, simple, impossible trust between predator and prey. And somehow, these humans had made it real. The meeting chamber of the Galactic Council was rarely completely silent. With representatives from 47 different species, there was always some noise. Translators humming, delegates whispering to their aides, the rustle of data pads and documents. But when Dr. Hess's report finished playing on the main screen, silence fell like a heavy blanket. The video showed everything. The child approaching the dragon, the kiss, the injured Skrell being calmed by a small girl's touch. The final clip showed Lily riding on the back of a massive Skrell while it flew in lazy circles above the human settlement, the child's laughter clear in the audio. Council leader Dreth was the first to speak. He was old, even by the standards of his long-lived species. His skin had a gray tone that came with centuries of age. "Is this footage authentic?" "Yes, Council leader," Dr. Hess replied. His voice echoed in the large chamber. "I witnessed much of this personally. The humans have formed genuine bonds with creatures we classified as apex predators." A Vorsian delegate slammed his clawed hand on his desk. The Vorsians were a warrior species, reptilian and aggressive. This is madness. They put their children near predators. This is either extreme stupidity or a lie. "I assure you it is neither," Dr. Hess said calmly. "I spent 3 days observing the human settlement. The relationship between humans and Skrells is real. There is no deception." A Quillen representative spoke up next. The Quillen were aquatic, timid by nature, and avoided conflict whenever possible. Surely, they must have modified the creatures somehow, made them docile through genetic alteration. "We tested for that. All biological scans of the Skrells show they are unmodified. They are the same predators we have documented for years. The only difference is their interaction with humans." The Vorsian delegate stood. "Then the humans are using some form of mind control, technology we have not detected." "We scanned for that as well. No evidence of neural manipulation devices, no chemical influence, nothing technological at all." "Then how," the Quillen demanded, "how do they do this?" Dr. Hess pulled up another file. "I asked them that exact question. The answer is simple though difficult to understand. They use patience, consistency, and what they call empathy. They approach slowly. They offer food. They observe behavior and respond appropriately. And most importantly, they trust first." "Trust a predator," the Vorsian laughed, a harsh barking sound. "That is how species go extinct." "Perhaps, or perhaps it is how species evolve," Dreth said quietly. He was watching the footage again, specifically the moment when Lily kissed the dragon. "Tell us more about this child, Dr. Hess." "Her name is Lily. She is 6 years old. According to her mother, she has always been drawn to animals. On Earth, she had several pets. When they arrived on Tarvis 7, she was the first to show interest in the Skrells. She would watch them from a distance, study their behavior. When her father began his careful approach to make contact, Lily went with him. And the dragon did not harm her. No, the humans believe that children approach without the fear-based aggression that adults often carry. The Skrells can sense this. They recognize non-threatening behavior." Another delegate spoke up, this one from a species Dr. Hess did not immediately recognize. "We have tried for thousands of years to domesticate dangerous species on our worlds. We have failed repeatedly. How do humans succeed where we have not?" I believe it is a difference in perspective, Dr. Hess said carefully. Most species, including my own Rildan people, view dangerous creatures as problems to solve or threats to eliminate. Humans seem to view them as potential partners. They do not seek to dominate or control. They seek to cooperate. The Vorsian delegate shook his head. Cooperation with predators is impossible. This will end badly. Mark my words. Dreth raised his hand for silence. I want to see more footage, Dr. Hess. Do you have additional recordings? Yes, Council Leader. The screen changed. New clips played. A human teaching a young Skrell to respond to hand signals. Another showing a dragon helping humans build a barn, carefully lifting heavy beams into place. A third clip showed a Skrell standing guard while human children slept nearby during a camping trip. The most striking footage showed a human woman diving into a ravine to rescue a Skrell that had become trapped between rocks. The dragon was in pain, frightened, and could easily have killed her. Instead, it held still while she worked to free it. When she succeeded, the Skrell nuzzled her gently before flying away. That woman risked her life, a delegate whispered, for a predator. They do not see them as predators, Dr. Hess explained. They see them as individuals, beings with thoughts and feelings, potential friends. Dreth leaned forward in his seat. This changes things. If humans can form bonds with apex predators, they possess a survival trait we have never encountered. The question is whether this trait is dangerous or valuable. Dangerous, the Vorsian said immediately. They will get themselves killed, and possibly others who follow their example. Or valuable, Dreth countered. Imagine the applications. Hostile worlds could become habitable. Dangerous species could become allies. This ability could reshape how we approach colonization and survival. The Quillen delegate pulled up statistics on his data pad. There are currently 16 colony worlds struggling with indigenous predator species. We have considered abandoning 12 of them. If humans could help establish peace between colonists and local fauna, those worlds could remain viable. You want to risk more lives based on this, the Vorsian demanded. I want to explore the possibilities, Dreth said firmly. Dr. Hess, you will continue monitoring the human settlement, gather more data. I want to understand this ability fully before we make any decisions. The meeting was about to adjourn when an alarm sounded. A young aide rushed into the chamber and whispered urgently to the Quillen delegate. The delegate's face went pale. Council Leader, the Quillen said, his voice shaking. We have an emergency. One of our colony worlds is under attack. A pack predator species has overwhelmed our defenses. The colony will fall within hours. Dreth stood. Where is the nearest military fleet? 2 days away at best. The colony has hours, not days. The chamber erupted in worried conversations. Delegates argued about response options. The Quillen representative looked desperate. His people were dying, and no one could help in time. Dr. Hess found himself speaking before he fully thought through the words. The human settlement is only 6 hours from that colony world. Every being in the chamber turned to look at him. Are you suggesting we ask humans for military aid? The Vorsian asked incredulously. No, I am suggesting we ask them to do what they do best, make peace with predators. Dreth looked at the footage still frozen on the main screen. The image showed Lily with her hand on a dragon's snout, both of them peaceful and calm. Contact the humans, Dreth said. Ask if they will help. The human ship called Wanderer dropped out of faster-than-light travel above the Quillen colony world. It was not an impressive vessel by military standards. Medium-sized, designed for exploration rather than combat, with simple defensive shields. But it carried something no military ship had. 12 Skrells and 30 humans who knew how to work with them. Bate Carter stood on the bridge, studying the tactical display. The situation was bad. Really bad. A species called Renclaws had surrounded the main Quillen city. Over 200 of the creatures, each one standing 8 feet tall with natural armor plating and razor-sharp claws. The Quillen defenders were pinned inside their buildings, running low on ammunition and options. "Ma'am, we're receiving a transmission from the surface," the communications officer said. "It's the colony governor." "Put him through." The screen flickered to life. A Quillen appeared, his aquatic features distorted by obvious stress. His gills fluttered rapidly, a sign of panic in his species. "Human vessel, this is Governor Tress. We were told you could help, but I do not understand how. Do you have weapons? Military support?" "No weapons, Governor. We brought something better." "What could possibly be better than weapons right now?" "Understanding," Bates said simply. "We're landing near your position. Please keep your people inside and hold your fire." "Hold our fire. Those creatures will kill you the moment you land." "Maybe, or maybe we can talk them into leaving peacefully." Governor Tress stared at her like she had spoken nonsense. "Talk to them. They are mindless predators." "That's what everyone says, Governor. We'll see. Wanderer out." The ship descended through the atmosphere. Through the viewports they could see the colony. It was built in a valley between two mountain ranges with a river running through the center. Nice location, good resources. Unfortunately, it also sat directly on top of something important to the Wrenclaws. Robert Hayes joined Bate at the viewport. He had been studying the predator behavior data during the flight. "The attack pattern is wrong." "Wrong how?" "They're not hunting. Look at the distribution. They've surrounded the city, but they're not pressing the attack. They're keeping the Quillen contained, but not trying to break through the defenses." Bate looked closer. Robert was right. The Wrenclaws were definitely aggressive, but their behavior seemed more defensive than offensive. So what are they protecting? "That's what we need to find out." The Wanderer landed on the outskirts of the city, in an area the Quillen had abandoned. The cargo bay opened and the Skrells emerged first. Scarlet, Lily's dragon, was in the lead. The massive creatures spread their wings and roared, announcing their presence. The Wrenclaws responded immediately. A dozen of them turned toward the new arrivals, snarling and displaying their claws. They looked like a cross between a bear and a lizard, with thick plates of natural armor covering their backs and shoulders. "Hold positions," Bate ordered through her communicator. "Let them see we're not attacking." The humans emerged from the ship, walking calmly despite being severely outnumbered by predators. Lily stayed close to her mother but showed no fear. She had seen this kind of situation before, though never on this scale. One large Wrenclaw, probably the pack leader, approached slowly. It growled, showing teeth like daggers. The Skrells growled back but did not move to attack. "Stand off," Robert muttered. "They're not sure what to make of us." Bate took a slow step forward. Behind her, several humans tensed but held their positions. "We need to show them we're not a threat." "Or we need to show them we understand," Lily said quietly. She was looking past the Wrenclaws toward the center of the city. "Mama, what's that building there? The big round one?" Bate pulled up the city map on her data pad. "According to this, it's a cultural center, newly built. They finished construction about a month ago." Lily frowned, right before the attack started. Robert pulled up his own data. The first Wrenclaw attack was recorded 28 days ago. The cultural center opened 30 days ago. He looked at Bate. "She's right. The timing matches." "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking that cultural center might be built on top of something the Wrenclaws care about." Bate activated her communicator. "Governor Tress, this is Commander Carter. I need you to answer a question. What was in that location before you built the cultural center?" There was a pause. "I will need to check the survey data." "Why?" "Just check, please. It's important." While they waited, the standoff continued. More Wrenclaws had gathered now, forming a loose circle around the humans and their dragon companions. The tension was thick enough to feel. Governor Tress's voice came back through the communicator. According to the original planetary survey, that location had several natural caves. We filled them during construction to create a stable foundation. Were there any signs of life in those caves? Some thermal signatures, but we assumed they were just ambient heat. We did not investigate thoroughly. Is this relevant? Bate closed her eyes briefly. Very relevant. Governor, I think you built your cultural center on top of a wrenclaw nesting ground. The silence that followed was heavy. That would mean we destroyed their eggs, Governor Tress said quietly. By the deep waters, we didn't know. I understand, but they don't care that it was an accident. They care that their nests are gone. Robert was already scanning the area beyond the city. Bate, I'm picking up thermal signatures in the caves about 5 miles east, similar patterns to what the Quillen reported. I think that's where the wrenclaws are trying to move their nests to, but they can't relocate while the Quillen are shooting at them. Bate looked at the wrenclaw leader still watching them. The creature's eyes held intelligence, not mindless rage. It was a parent protecting its young, or at least trying to. We need to help them move. Help them? One of her crew members asked. You want to help the predators. They're not invading, they're defending, there's a difference. Lily walked forward before anyone could stop her. She moved slowly, hands visible and empty. The wrenclaw leader turned to watch her. Several other wrenclaws shifted nervously. It's okay, Lily said softly. We understand now, we want to help. The wrenclaw tilted its massive head, studying the small human child. Then it did something unexpected. It took a step back. Lily continued forward. She stopped a few feet from the creature and knelt down, making herself smaller and less threatening. You're trying to protect your bobbies, right? We can help you move them somewhere safe. The wrenclaw made a low rumbling sound, not aggressive, almost questioning. Bate activated her communicator again. Governor Tress, we're going to attempt something. We're going to help the wrenclaws relocate their nests. I need your people to hold their fire and trust us. You cannot be serious. I'm completely serious. Give us 2 hours. If this doesn't work, we'll leave and you can call in the military. But if it does work, you save your colony without any more bloodshed. Another long pause. Then 2 hours, but if anyone dies, this ends immediately. Understood. Bates signaled to her crew. Robert, take a team and find those caves to the east. Confirm it's suitable for nesting. Everyone else, we're going to very carefully help transport wrenclaw eggs from under that cultural center to the new location. This is insane, someone muttered. Probably, Bate agreed, but it's also the right thing to do. Lily stood and walked back to Scarlet. The dragon lowered its head, and the child climbed onto its back. Together, they flew toward the cultural center, with a dozen cautious wrenclaws following below. The cultural center was a beautiful building by Quillen standards. Smooth curves, flowing water features, large windows that let in natural light. It had taken 6 months to construct and was meant to be a symbol of their successful colonization. Now, humans in work gear were carefully drilling through its foundation, while massive predators watched. Robert Hayes knelt beside a hole they had created in the floor. His scanner showed 3 thermal signatures below. We've got eggs here, 3 of them, maybe 4. Bate crouched next to him. Can we reach them without damaging them? I think so, but we'll need to widen this opening, and we'll need to be gentle. Around them, wrenclaws paced nervously. The pack leader remained closest, watching every movement the humans made. Its eyes never left the spot where Robert was working. Lily sat on Scarlet's back nearby, speaking softly to the dragon. The Skrell's presence seemed to keep the wrenclaws from becoming too aggressive, a mutual respect between apex predators. Governor Tress watched from a safe distance through a remote drone. His voice came through Bates' communicator. I still cannot believe you are doing this. You are extracting eggs from beneath our building to give them to the creatures that attacked us. They didn't attack you, Governor. They tried to defend their nests. You attacked first even if you didn't know it. The distinction seems minor when people are dying. No one is dying right now. That's what matters. Robert carefully enlarged the opening. 2 other humans helped him set up a support frame to prevent the floor from collapsing. Then, with extreme care, Robert lowered himself into the space below. The Wrenclaw leader made a sharp sound. Several others moved closer, agitated. "Easy," Bates said, though she knew they probably did not understand her words. She kept her tone calm and her movements slow. "We're helping, just watch." Robert's voice came up from below. "I see them. 4 eggs. They're about the size of a watermelon with thick shells. They seem intact." "Can you lift them?" "Yeah, but I'll need a harness system. These things are heavy." 2 crew members quickly rigged a lifting system using cargo webbing and a portable winch. Robert carefully secured the first egg and signaled for them to lift. Slowly, the egg emerged from the hole. Every Wrenclaw in the area went completely still, their eyes fixed on the egg like nothing else in the universe existed. The pack leader took a step forward, then stopped, clearly torn between aggression and caution. Lily slid down from Scarlet's back. She walked to the egg and placed both hands on it gently. "It's okay," she said to the Wrenclaws. "See, it's safe. We're not hurting it." The pack leader made a low sound, almost like a whimper. It was the sound of a worried parent. Bate brought over a padded container they had prepared. Together, she and Lily carefully placed the egg inside. 1 down, 3 to go. The process repeated 3 more times. Each egg was extracted with painstaking care, inspected to ensure it was undamaged, and placed in a protected container. The Wrenclaws watched every second of it. Some made anxious sounds, others paced, but none attacked. When the 4th egg was secured, Robert climbed out of the hole and looked at the pack leader. "That's all of them. We checked twice. Your bobbies are safe." The Wrenclaw stared at him. Then slowly it approached the containers holding the eggs. It sniffed carefully, checking each one. Apparently satisfied, it made a rumbling sound that rippled through the other Wrenclaws. "Now comes the hard part," Bates said. "We need to transport these eggs 5 miles to the new nesting site without breaking them." "The Wrenclaws won't let us carry them away," one of her crew said. "They will if we show them we're taking them somewhere safe." Bate activated a display screen on her data pad and showed it to the Wrenclaw leader. The screen displayed the cave system Robert's team had scouted earlier. Deep, dry, protected, perfect for nesting. Obviously, the creature could not read the screen or understand maps, but something in Bates' tone, or perhaps the images themselves, seemed to communicate intent. The Wrenclaw looked at the screen, then at Bate, then at the eggs. Lily stepped forward again. She pointed at the eggs, then at the horizon in the direction of the caves. "We're taking them there, to a safe place. You can come with us." The Wrenclaw made a decision. It called out to the others, a sharp bark that echoed across the area. Then it carefully picked up one of the egg containers in its jaws, holding it with surprising gentleness. "Well," Robert said quietly, "I guess that's a yes." The convoy that left the Quillen City was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Humans, Skrells, and Wrenclaws moving together with a shared purpose. Some humans rode on dragon backs. Others drove small transport vehicles carrying the remaining egg containers. The Wrenclaws walked alongside them, protective and alert but not aggressive. Governor Tress contacted Bate again. "I am watching this through the drones. I do not understand what I am seeing." "You're seeing cooperation, Governor. Species working together for mutual benefit. But they nearly destroyed our colony. Because you accidentally destroyed their nests. Now we're fixing that mistake." The journey took 2 hours. The cave system Robert had found was even better than the scans suggested. Multiple chambers, stable temperatures, good ventilation. The Wrenclaw leader entered first, checking every detail. Then it carefully placed the egg container in the central chamber. The humans brought in the other 3 containers. Lily helped position them in a circle, the way the wren claws seemed to prefer. The adult creatures immediately settled around the eggs, creating a protective barrier. "They're not leaving," Robert observed. "They're going to stay and guard the eggs." "Of course they are, wouldn't you?" More wren claws arrived over the next hour, called by some signal the humans could not detect. They entered the caves and took up positions around the nesting chamber. What had been a war party was now a protective family. The Wrenclaw leader approached Bait one final time. It looked at her for a long moment. Then it did something that made several crew members gasp. It lowered its head in what could only be described as a bow. Bait reached out slowly and touched the creature's armored snout. "You're welcome. Take care of your bobbies." The Wrenclaw made a soft rumbling sound. Then it turned and joined the others in the caves. Back at the Quillen City, Governor Tress waited for them at the landing pad. He looked different from the panicked leader they had first spoken to. Calmer, thoughtful. "All Wrenclaw activity has ceased," he said. "They have withdrawn from our city completely. There have been no new attacks." "There won't be," Bates said. "They were never attacking. They were defending. Now they have no reason to fight. You made peace with monsters in less than a day. We fought them for nearly a month." "They're not monsters, Governor. They're parents. We just had to understand that." Governor Tress looked at Lily, who was sitting on the ground playing with some small stones while Scarlet lounged nearby. "That child kissed a dragon. She touched a Wrenclaw. She shows no fear at all." "She shows no unnecessary fear," Bait corrected. "There's a difference. She respects dangerous creatures, but she also sees past the danger to what they really are." "How do humans do this? How do you bridge the gap between predator and prey?" Bait smiled. "We remember that we were once prey too. Back on Earth, thousands of years ago, humans were not the dominant species. We were hunted. We were afraid. But we learned to cooperate, to communicate, to understand other species. It's in our nature now. We look for connection, not conflict." Governor Tress was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "The Galactic Council should know about this. What you did here could change everything." "It already is changing everything," Bates said. She looked at her crew, at the Skrells resting peacefully nearby, at the caves in the distance where Wrenclaws now guarded their eggs in safety. One planet at a time. 8 months passed. The galaxy watched and learned. What had started with a child kissing a dragon on Tarvis 7 became something much larger. The Galactic Council created a new department called Interspecies Relations, and humans filled most of the positions. Teams traveled to conflict zones across dozens of worlds, attempting to broker peace between colonists and dangerous native species. The success rate was remarkable, not perfect. Some creatures were simply too territorial or too aggressive to coexist with other species. Some situations were too far gone, with too much blood already spilled on both sides. But more often than not, humans found a way to bridge the gap. They made friends with ice giants on frozen worlds and sky whales that migrated through gas clouds. They established communication with hive minds and learned to respect territorial boundaries of pack hunters. Other species tried to copy human methods with mixed results. The Rildan scientists managed some success with smaller creatures but struggled with anything truly dangerous. The Vorsians failed completely, their aggressive nature making peaceful contact nearly impossible. Surprisingly, the Quillans showed promise. After watching humans work, they learned to approach slowly and patiently. Several Quillan colonies now lived peacefully alongside species they once considered threats. Dr. Hess published a comprehensive study titled The Human Advantage: Empathy as Survival Strategy. It became required reading for xenobiology students across the galaxy. The core argument was simple but revolutionary. Humans succeeded not because they were stronger or smarter than other species, but because they were willing to take emotional risks. They offered trust before receiving it. They saw potential friends where others saw only threats. Bait Carter was appointed head of the Interspecies Relations Department. She spent most of her time training new teams and reviewing requests for help from various colonies. Her office was aboard a space station near the center of Council territory, but she returned to Tarvis 7 whenever possible. The original human settlement had grown into a proper town now, with several hundred residents and dozens of Skrells living integrated among them. Lily was 7 years old now, taller, more confident, but still the same child who had kissed a dragon without fear. She traveled with her mother often, serving as what Bate jokingly called their ambassador of obvious trust. Wherever they went, Lily's presence helped calm tense situations. Her lack of fear was genuine and infectious. Their latest assignment was challenging even by their standards. A species called the Morin were losing a war they never wanted to fight. Their homeworld was beautiful but dominated by creatures called Titan shells. These beings were ancient, massive as mountains, and impossibly powerful. They moved slowly, but when they moved, they reshaped landscapes. The Morin had built their civilization around the Titan shells for thousands of years, carefully avoiding the routes the giants traveled. But population growth pushed Morin settlements into areas the Titan shells needed. Conflicts began. Buildings were destroyed. Lives were lost. The Morin tried to fight back, but their weapons barely scratched the creatures' thick shells. Now they were evacuating their planet entirely, abandoning their homeworld because coexistence seemed impossible. Bate read the reports during the journey. "This is different from anything we've done before. These creatures are so large they might not even notice us." "They'll notice," Lily said confidently. She was looking at images of the Titan shells on a data pad. The creatures looked like combinations of tortoises and whales with shells that had entire ecosystems growing on them. Some were so old that trees grew from their backs. "They're alive. They'll notice." Robert, who was part of the team, looked skeptical. "Even if they notice, how do we communicate? These things are bigger than starships." "We start small," Bates said. "We always start small." The Morin government was desperate enough to let them try. They landed on the homeworld in an area where Titan shells were known to pass through. The Morin evacuation was still ongoing in the distance, ships lifting off constantly as people abandoned their homes. One Titan shell was visible on the horizon. It moved at a glacial pace, each step taking several minutes. As it walked, the ground trembled slightly. The creature was heading toward an abandoned Morin city. "It will destroy the city," a Morin official said sadly. He had stayed behind to coordinate the final evacuations. "All our history, our monuments, everything, gone." "Maybe not," Bates said. "Lily, are you ready?" The 7-year-old girl nodded. She walked forward with Scarlet by her side. The dragon was fully grown now, large and powerful, but compared to the Titan shell, even Scarlet looked tiny. They approached slowly. It took an hour just to reach the point where the massive creature would pass. Lily found a spot and simply sat down. Scarlet settled beside her. They waited. The Titan shell continued its slow approach. Its shadow fell over them long before it arrived. Up close, the scale was staggering. Each of its legs was thicker than a building. Its shell stretched so far that Lily could not see from one end to the other. "This is madness," the Morin official whispered. "That child will be crushed." "Trust her," Bates said, though her own heart was beating fast. This was different from every other situation. The Titan shell could step on Lily accidentally and never know. She knows what she's doing. The massive creature's foot descended near them. The ground shook. Scarlet tensed but did not flee. Lily remained seated, calm and still. The Titan shell stopped. For the first time in recorded Morin history, one of the giants halted its path. Its enormous head, the size of a house, slowly lowered. A single eye, ancient and deep, focused on the tiny human sitting on the ground. Lily stood. She was so small compared to the creature that she looked like an insect, but she showed no fear. She walked forward until she was directly in front of the Titan shell's face. Then she reached up with both hands and touched its shell. The creature made a sound, deep, resonant like the earth itself singing. It was a sound the Morin had never heard before. The Titan shell lowered its head even further until it was nearly touching the ground. Lily smiled. She leaned forward and kissed the ancient shell right between the creature's eyes. The Morin official made a sound of pure shock. Impossible. The Titan shell closed its eye slowly, then opened it again. It looked at Lily for a long moment. Then, carefully, it changed its path. Instead of walking through the city, it moved around it. The adjustment took hours, but the creature made the effort. Lily watched it go, still smiling. They're not mean. They're just old. They've been walking these paths for so long they forgot that other people live here too. Over the following weeks, Lily and other members of Bates' team made contact with more Titan shells. The process was slow. Some attempts failed, but gradually they learned the patterns. They mapped the routes the giants needed and helped the Morin relocate their cities to areas that would not interfere. It was not perfect. Compromises had to be made on both sides, but for the first time in their history, the Morin could stay on their homeworld. They could live alongside the Titan shells instead of fleeing from them. The Galactic Council formally recognized what humans had accomplished. Entire worlds that would have been abandoned were now thriving. Species that would have gone extinct found ways to coexist. It was not technology that saved them. It was not weapons or force. It was something simpler and more powerful. Understanding, patience, and trust. Dr. Hess visited Tarvis 7 one more time, a year after his first trip. The settlement was now a proper city with multiple species living there. Humans, Rildan, Quillen, even a few Vorsians who had come to learn. And everywhere, integrated among them, were the Skrells. The dragons that had once terrified him now seemed as normal as any other citizen. He found Lily teaching a class of young students, both human and alien children. She was showing them how to approach a young Skrell, demonstrating the proper body language and tone of voice. The children watched with wonder as the dragon nuzzled Lily's hand. "How do you do it?" Dr. Hess asked her later. "How do you approach these creatures without fear?" Lily thought about this seriously. "I don't think about them being scary. I think about them being lonely. Most animals just want friends, you know. They want to be safe and not hungry and have someone who understands them. That's what everybody wants, even dragons." Dr. Hess looked at this young human child who had changed the galaxy. She was 7 years old. She should have been playing with toys and learning basic math. Instead, she was teaching the universe how to make peace. "Your species is remarkable," he said. Lily shrugged. "We just remember that being different doesn't mean being bad, and that sometimes the scariest-looking people need the most love." She ran off to join the other children. Scarlet followed, the massive dragon moving carefully to avoid stepping on the smaller beings playing around her feet. Dr. Hess stood in the middle of the city, watching humans and aliens and dragons coexisting peacefully. He thought about the child who had kissed a dragon and made the impossible real. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was a good thing.